Okay, look at that. What do you see? Very interesting. Well, I noticed something completely different. You see these bug things? Look at their wings. You seriously believe that these little wings are gonna keep them in the air? I was actually inspired for this video by some guy on Quora that said something like, yeah, Watto had helium in his guns, so that's why he can fly, or something like that. So I decided to try to figure out just how can species like Toydarian fly. And guess what? I couldn't find that answer on Quora, and I didn't find anything anywhere that would support this, but I did find a few reasons I think insects with small wings can fly. Okay, so how can big insects even fly? Well, not all of these large things with small wings are actually insects. It's actually just a catchy title, you know what I mean? So first off, let's see if something like that actually exists. And you'll probably be surprised to hear that the largest insect that was ever discovered, I mean the remains of the species, had a wingspan of 71 centimeters. Notice that I said wingspan because the damn thing was able to fly. You know, they aren't as huge as Geanosians, but not bad. So the size doesn't actually seem to be a problem for flying as much as I thought. Okay, but how much bigger can these insects get? Well, this topic isn't completely finished yet in the world of science, but there are a couple of theories. So why are insects as small today? I promise we're getting back to Star Wars very soon. The first theory, and probably the most well-known one, is that insects are small because they cannot carry a bigger exoskeleton, which is the armor thing that surrounds insects. But this theory doesn't have a lot of proofs, and we actually know for a few insect species in Star Wars that are huge that they have a really light exoskeleton. So there is another reason why large insects maybe aren't around anymore. You see, insects breed differently from animals. I mean, they are animal, but you know what I mean. And the theory says that there is not enough oxygen in the air for insect species breeding mechanisms to work properly when they become bigger. Okay, but did you ever notice that the atmosphere of the Geanosians is kinda brown? Well, that indicates that the atmosphere does not have the same composition to some of the other planets, and as nitrogen among the other elements makes the sky blue, it's possible that the color is the result of a big level of oxygen in the air. So it's kinda possible that that's why Geanosians could develop. Now note that nitrogen influences the color of the sky just slightly, and oxygen makes the sky blue too, but different mixture of gases could probably result in a different atmosphere color. Okay, so we're done with insects, but how can these things fly? Well, there is no specific answer for all of the species, so let's look at the main two species that shouldn't really be able to fly. First, Toydarians. How can they fly? Well, here you have it, officially from Wikipedia. Despite the fragility of their wings and the apparent heaviness of their large gut, Toydarians were remarkably buoyant. Indeed, Toydarian bodily tissue was extremely absorbent of natural gases in the air, which made them incredibly lightweight. Though their wings could beat as fast as 10 times a second, the effort burned up large amount of energy, causing the species to need to replenish itself up and throughout regularly eating mass quantities of food. In order to fuel this hyperactive metabolism, Toydarians would eat concentrated foods and egg seeds. So it's possible that their large gut wasn't actually full of food, but it was filled with natural gases, like a giant balloon almost. So that's why they could kinda hover. And it states their wings were small, but incredibly fast and strong. Okay, that explains it, honestly. What about the Geanosians? Well, their wings were a little bit more solid, and considering that there were large insects that were able to fly a long time ago in the galaxy very close, it's possible that they can fly too. Not to mention that, like I already mentioned, the mixture of gases in the atmosphere could be different. Maybe the atmosphere was heavier and that helped them even further. Like many insect species, Geanosians had a hard chitin exoskeleton that provided protection from physical impact and bouts of radiation that occasionally showered their world. And the exoskeleton was extremely light. Geanosians in general were extremely light, and in many sources it stated that they used the wings just during their youth and then stopped using them, which could indicate that they grew too big for the wings. Besides all that, I also noticed something. Watto, probably most famous Toydarian, was on Tatooine. The diameter of Tatooine is 10,465 kilometers, which is more than 2,000 kilometers less than Earth, which means that gravity on Tatooine is noticeably smaller than on Earth. The diameter of Geanosians is 11,370 kilometers, which is still smaller than Earth, and on Toydaria, the home planet of the Toydarians, it's only 7,900 kilometers. That's almost half the size of the Earth. The gravity there is really small. If the diameter would be just 1,000 kilometers smaller, it would be the same as the diameter of Mars, where you can, by the way, jump 2 meters and more. So these are the reasons why creatures with small wings could fly in Star Wars. Most of the species had very unique biology that allowed them to fly while still being an old cool slave owner. Okay, there could be other species that could fly somehow that I didn't mention, but these were the major 2 species I always had a problem with, so Toydarians and Geanosians. Now there are also like dragon species kinda almost in Star Wars, but hey, their wings are giant and they aren't insects. I mean, they still gotta be incredibly light, but yeah, I guess it works out. I guess that it's possible that there are also other species that I didn't mention, but I think that most of these species kinda have the same concept. If they are insects, then it's probably because the atmosphere is different, because it gotta be so they can even breathe, and it's possible that the diameter of the planet is smaller too. And if they are some kind of other weird shit like Toydarians, it's also possible that the gravity on their home planet is a lot smaller and they have some kind of unique biology like Toydarians have with their balloon thing. But yeah guys, I guess that's it. If there is any other weird species that could somehow fly, let me know in the comments, and you may want to subscribe for more nerdy Star Wars videos. And yeah, okay guys, see ya.